Arizona's own. This is 2 News at 6.
A 34-year-old man from California was hiking near the canyon. He fell 30 feet off of Oak Creek Vista at the top of the switchbacks on Highway 89A.
Arizona is set to open its doors to the public this weekend.
Local news coverage continues to decline nationally at a rapid rate. Since 2005, almost 40% of local newspapers have shut down, leaving nearly 50 million Americans without a source of local news. Like a desert with no water, hundreds of communities have already lost local news entirely, and in many more, only a single outlet remains. But what really dries up in a news desert? Flagstaff's local CAF News reporter Tony Braca starts his workday before the city wakes up.
I come in 5:30 in the morning, and the first thing I do is accumulate the stories that we had either go out the day before or see what happened overnight.
He puts those stories into a 90-second newscast and broadcasts it across the airwaves.
It will also be hosted in 2 other locations at DPS headquarters, and Brown's father, Darren, offered their congratulations.
CAF was once a newsroom filled with journalists.
Back here was Casey's desk. That middle one was my desk. And then
But now, only 2 reporters remain. Tony works alongside fellow reporter Michael Manny.
It's a small team. It's just the 2 of us, but we're a really great team.
The 2 divide their schedule to keep CAF's website updated at all times, to cover one of the largest counties in the country, a region that stretches over 18,000 square miles.
between me and Michael, I think that we do get a lot of the coverage that we need out. But, again, there are only 2 of us. And sometimes both me and Michael have things going on in our lives.
On the other side of town, Mason Carroll, reporting for Arizona's Family, heads to an interview location. AZ Family is a TV news station based in Phoenix.
They are desperately needed this year.
Mason Carroll, her photographer Mike Cooper, and their intern Kaylee Doyle work every weekday in Flagstaff as the station's Flagstaff Bureau, all out of their car.
Our car is our mobile office. So the way that looks is my photographer's in the front seat, and then the passenger seat in the front is a desk, an inverter on the bottom, probably like 6 or 8 plugs on the side. And so I just say we switch constantly throughout the day.
Mason is the only TV reporter in the area.
I feel like she feels a sense of responsibility to tell the stories of the people in the area. Like, there's no one else doing it. So I think that that's also part of why she works so hard, is because if she's not going to do it, who is going to do it?
Mason Carroll for Arizona's Family.
From Northern Arizona's own, this is 2 News at 10.
Flagstaff and Northern Arizona used to see more coverage with KNAZ Channel 2.
How much the city is going to spend.
KNAZ was a television station that was licensed to Flagstaff, affiliated with NBC. The program ran from 1970 to 1997 until it was sold. The shift was part of a larger national trend, where smaller local stations were being absorbed or shut down.
A proposal has been submitted by the developers of the Canyon Forest Village project to county planning and zoning officials.
Mitch Stroman was a news director and anchor for KNAZ in the 90s.
When I first came to Flagstaff in 1988, we had a very robust and very active news media landscape in this community for a city of its size at the time. Channel 2, KNAZ TV,
Northern Arizona's local news source,
had a full newsroom, full-blown news, sports, and weather operation.
Noble employees are hoping for a big weekend. Right now, 50% up.
Stroman spent a majority of his career in Flagstaff, working for different outlets like KNAZ, CAF, and NAU Athletics. In the early years of his career, the coverage looked different.
There was not a single news event that went on of any consequence in Flagstaff that didn't have multiple full-time journalists covering that event.
Coconino County is the second largest county in the United States measured by land area, creating a large coverage area for Northern Arizona journalists.
I always say Prescott to Page and then basically border to border. So we've gone to where we can see the California border before and basically to New Mexico.
So we had to kind of figure out, one, what is the coverage area, define that, and then really just trying to find the different organizations and departments that we need to monitor on social media, where to monitor them at, where best to get information.
One news company that has been navigating this coverage area for the longest time is the Arizona Daily Sun.
When I started in 2008, we had almost 100 people in the office and a little over 20 in the newsroom. And those numbers have both, well, the newsroom's down to about 8 or 9, and overall in the building, we're down to like 20, 25.
Chris Etling, managing editor of the Arizona Daily Sun, has helped the newspaper adapt over decades. The newspaper is Coconino County's longest standing to date. The publication began as the Arizona Champion in 1883 and has evolved through generations since. The Daily Sun has transformed through the rise of radio and TV, so navigating an evolving landscape is not new, but still comes with its challenges.
It used to be everything was print first. It was, what are we going to do for those readers? And then, well, obviously even in the mid-2000s, there's websites, there's a bit of social media burgeoning. What has changed is that we're now trying to hit all 8 or 9 of those buckets.
The vast area, mixed with few local journalists, leaves holes in stories. But are there enough holes to classify Northern Arizona as a news desert? News deserts are areas where residents have significantly diminished access to important local news and information that feeds into the grassroots of democracy. Northern Arizona has enough coverage to not qualify as a news desert, but because of the vast coverage area and few local reporters, the future of becoming a news desert is uncertain.
I don't believe it's a desert. It has changed. It is not as robust as it used to be back in the old days, but it still exists.
It feels like a journalism desert in the way of there's so much space and very little representation, especially when it comes to video.
Lack of representation can be detrimental to communities. Research shows that the loss of local news contributes to polarization, a decrease in voting, and government accountability.
When these news deserts continue to grow and combine, there are just fewer and fewer people to check power and check on important issues that often go by the wayside.
What people don't realize until news is gone is what it's doing for holding power to account. It's not going to be there to cover those weekly council meetings that, the people who are invested think are important, and they'll pay attention to it, they'll tune in. But run-of-the-mill folks in the city aren't going to be paying attention to some zoning ordinance that comes before the council on a random Tuesday night. So that kind of stuff is what I think is the most in danger of being lost.
News deserts and diminishing coverage can happen for many reasons, one being social media. Social media has created a new landscape for journalism, with most audiences turning online for their news. In today's world, about half of U.S. adults say they at least sometimes get news from social media.
Fewer and fewer people are watching cable news now. So a lot of people will get our stuff online, and most people are getting it on their cell phones. And so I think that's where a lot of that gap is.
Local newspapers and TV stations are adapting to the new norm of online over print. But social media has given any person the opportunity to report on news, bringing on the challenge of trust. 50% of U.S. adults do not consider someone who makes their own videos or posts about news on social media a journalist.
Anybody with a cell phone can become an impromptu reporter now and put it up on social media, and it'll spread, it'll go viral, whatever. But when it comes to the hard-hitting questions, the investigative work, the cornerstones of journalism, that's the part where I worry.
Since 2016, trust in local news has gone down 12%, but trust in information from social media has gone up 3%. Because of social media platforms, modern-day journalists have to adjust the way they tell information.
From CAF News, Northern Arizona's most trusted news source, this is CAF News Extra.
CAF News created CAF News Extra, a daily video newscast in hopes of reaching a different audience in today's changing landscape.
Taking a look at your weather for today, our quality of content has really continued to improve. And, you know, before 2 years ago, you know, we didn't have any kind of video product, really.
For the latest news and updates, head to cafnews.com. I'm Tony Baraka, and thanks for watching another edition of CAF News Extra.
Adaption means survival.
We have an email newsletter. We have social media posts, whether that's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We have people that just happen to go to the homepage. We have people who use the app. We have people who still get the print edition, even though it's fewer than it used to be. We have people who get the digital edition. And our job is to serve all of those readers.
Social media growth is not the only factor leading to the decline of local journalism.
Social media has changed the landscape. The internet has changed the landscape of news coverage. And it's also changed the economics of that. Covering news is expensive to do. It requires, first and foremost, people.
One way journalists in Arizona can get support is through the Arizona Media Association. The Arizona Media Association is a nonprofit corporation that acts as an official collective voice for Arizona's local radio, TV, print, and digital industry. As grants for local journalism by the government has decreased, the Arizona Media Association has grants for communities to improve their news coverage. Treg White is the CEO and president of the Arizona Media Association. One of the association's priorities within the past few years has been the Local News Foundation.
We help fund their wages to be able to have more journalists on the streets in their communities.
A funding option for local newsrooms is AMA's Startup and Innovation Grant.
It's about providing some seed money to organizations that may be starting up a news organization in their community. It may also help seed money for innovation.
By helping bring reporters to communities, it builds communities.
People still trust local news because it's the local news in their community from the local person that they see at the grocery store, at the restaurant, at the Friday night football game. That's how you build trust in a community.
As of 2025, only 56% of Americans have at least some trust in national media.
We're not some big national news outlet that, you know, parachutes in here when something big happens. We're based here, we live here, we care about this place just as much as anybody else.
Care seems to be the one thing that each local journalist has in common. Stroman, now in retirement, reflects on his time covering Flagstaff and the lesson that kept him afloat in his ever-evolving career as a journalist.
Caring about the craft, caring about what you do in this industry, but also caring about the people that you work with, the people that you work for, and the community that you live in, so that you have that personal investment in what it is that you do.
I mean, the community being informed on the news that impacts them, that matters to them, that's, in my eyes, that's always going to matter. I'd say it's never been more important.
Welcome back to Texas News Channel for Monday, November 5th. I'm Mason Carroll.
For Mason Carroll, what was once a young reporter's dream to climb the ladder to national coverage has now changed.
It feels so weird to me. I always thought I would continue to move and grow and do different things, but I'm able to grow and be a better journalist here in Northern Arizona and work on the local level, which was never the dream in college, but now this is perfect for me.
Reporting in Flagstaff, Mason Carroll for Arizona's Family.